Hi, welcome back to Ashley's Kitchen.
If you've ever walked into an Asian supermarket, you've probably seen dozens of bottles that all look the same. Soy sauce, dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, cooking wine, sesame oil.
Which one do you actually need? Today I will show you the Chinese ingredients I actually use at home, what each one does and how to use them. This is light soy sauce. It's the most commonly used seasoning in Chinese cooking. It adds saltiness and umami.
If you are only going to buy one Chinese seasoning, this should be the first one.
I know the name is confusing. A lot of people think light means lower in sodium. It doesn't.
Light soy sauce is called light because of its color, not because of its healthier. It's actually the everyday soy sauce we use for seasoning. It has a thin texture, a rich umami flavor, and it's slightly salty. I use it almost every day for marinating meat, seasoning stir fries, and making dipping sauce.
Since we are talking about light soy sauce, let's answer a few questions I see online all the time. Question number 1. Do I need both light soy sauce and dark soy sauce? Yes, because they do completely different job. Light soy sauce is mainly for flavor, while dark soy sauce is mainly for color. I will show you the difference in just a minute. Question number 2. Can I replace Chinese light soy sauce with Japanese soy sauce? For most home recipes, yes, they will both add saltiness and umami. But Chinese light soy sauce has a different flavor profile. If you want your dishes to taste more like authentic Chinese food, it's worth buying a bottle. Question number 3. Does light soy sauce need to be refrigerated? If you are using it regularly, keeping it in a cool pantry is usually fine. But refrigeration helps preserve its flavor longer, especially after opening. Now that we've talked about light soy sauce,
let's look at the one people confuse it with the most.
This is dark soy sauce. This isn't mainly used for seasoning. This is mainly used to give food a beautiful deep brown color.
On the left is light soy sauce. On the right is dark soy sauce. Right away, you can see the difference. Light soy sauce is thinner and lighter in color. Dark soy sauce is much darker, thicker, and slightly more syrupy. Despite the name, dark soy sauce isn't simply a stronger soy sauce. Its main job isn't adding saltiness, it's adding color.
Let me show you what I mean. I will cook 3 batches of pork exactly the same way. The only difference is one gets dark soy sauce, one gets light soy sauce, and the other doesn't.
Before we start, here is a quick tip if you are using a carbon steel wok. Make sure the wok is properly heated first. Don't stop when it just feels hot. Heat it until you see a very light wisp of smoke. That's when you add the cooking oil. If the wok isn't hot enough before adding the oil, the meat is much more likely to stick. This simple step makes a huge difference. Now let's add 1 tablespoon dark soy sauce. See how quickly the color changes. It gives the meat that rich brown color you often see in Chinese dishes. This third one with light soy sauce. Let's cook it and you will see their difference. This without any soy sauce. This with dark soy sauce. It looks much richer and much more appetizing. This with light soy sauce.
So here is the easiest way to remember it. Light soy sauce for flavor, dark soy sauce for color. Most Chinese recipes use both because together they create flavor and appearance we are looking for. Next, let's look at another ingredient that you will find in almost every Chinese kitchen: oyster sauce. So, does it taste like oysters? Surprisingly, not really.
It doesn't make your food taste fishy. Instead, it adds richness, umami, and a slight sweetness.
If you are new to Chinese cooking, you might still be wondering, I'm allergic to shellfish. Can I still use oyster sauce? No, choose a vegetarian mushroom oyster sauce instead. And can I eat it straight? I wouldn't recommend it. It's a concentrated cooking sauce. Now let's move on to another ingredient you will see in almost every Chinese recipe: Chinese cooking wine.
If you've ever followed a Chinese recipe, you've probably noticed that it shows up everywhere. But what exactly does it do?
This is a Chinese cooking wine. More specifically, this is a Shaoxing cooking wine. It's one of the most important ingredients in Chinese cooking, especially when you are cooking the meat and the seafood.
It has a rich aroma, a slightly nutty flavor, and contains alcohol just like wine. I use it for marinating meat, removing unwanted odors from seafood, and adding dips of flavor to stir fries.
Okay, cooking wine also raises a lot of questions. Now let's clear up some of the most common ones. Question number 1. Why do Chinese recipes use cooking wine so often? It's not just for alcohol. It helps reduce the strong odors, especially in meat and seafood, while adding another layer of flavor. And can I skip it? Yes, your dish will still turn out fine, but it may taste a little less fragrant, especially in the meat dishes. Can I substitute it with something else? If you can't find Shaoxing wine, dry sherry is probably the closest substitute. Dry white wine can also work for many home recipes, but the flavor will be a little different. If possible, I still recommend using Shaoxing wine for the most authentic result. Does the alcohol cook off?
Most of the alcohol evaporates during cooking,
leaving behind the aroma and the flavor. Is Shaoxing wine the same as cooking wine? Shaoxing wine is the most common Chinese cooking wine. So when a Chinese recipe simply says cooking wine, it's usually referring to Shaoxing wine. So here is the easiest way to remember it. Cooking wine isn't meant to make your food taste like wine. It's there to make your food taste more balanced, more aromatic, and more like authentic Chinese cooking. Cooking wine helps build flavor while you are cooking. Now let's take a look at another ingredient that adds a completely different kind of flavor. Chinese black vinegar. This is Chinese black vinegar. It's one of the most popular vinegars used in Chinese cooking.
It has a deep dark color, a rich aroma, and a mellow tangy flavor. Compared with regular vinegar, it's much less sharp and much more complex. I use it for dipping sauces, braised dishes, and sweet and sour recipes. Sometimes just a small splash at the end can brighten the whole dish.
Chinese black vinegar is also another ingredient that many people are curious about. So let's answer a few of the most common questions. Is Chinese black vinegar the same as balsamic vinegar? Not exactly. They both have a dark color, but they taste very different. Balsamic vinegar is sweeter, while the Chinese black vinegar is more savory, tangy, and slightly smoky. Can I substitute balsamic vinegar? If it's your only option, you can use it in some recipes, but the flavor will be noticeably different. For the Chinese authentic dishes, Chinese black vinegar is definitely the better choice. Is it just for dipping dumplings? Not at all. We also use it in stir-fries, soups, braised dishes, and many classic Chinese sauces. Can I use the regular white vinegar instead? It depends on the recipe. White vinegar gives you acidity. It doesn't have the rich aroma that black vinegar brings, so the flavor won't be quite the same. The easiest way to remember it is this. Chinese black vinegar isn't just about making food sour. It adds depth, balance, and a unique aroma that regular vinegar simply can't replace. So far, we've talked about the ingredients that build flavors in different ways. Now let's finish with one that's all about aroma, sesame oil. This is sesame oil, even though we don't use a lot of it. It's one of the most recognizable flavors in Chinese cooking.
It has a beautiful golden color, a rich nutty aroma, and just a few drops can completely change a dish. The first thing you will notice isn't the taste, it's the incredible aroma. I usually add sesame oil right before serving. It's perfect for soups, cold dishes, dipping sauces, and finishing stir-fries.
Sesame oil is another ingredient that surprises a lot of people. Here are some of the questions I see most often. Number 1. Can I cook with sesame oil? Yes, you can, but I won't recommend for most Chinese stir-fries. Sesame oil is a finishing oil. We add it at the end, so its aroma stays fresh and fragrant. Why do Chinese recipes use only a little sesame oil? Because it's very concentrated. A small amount adds wonderful aroma. Too much can easily overpower the other flavors. What's the difference between roasted sesame oil and regular sesame oil? Toasted sesame oil is made from roasted sesame seeds, so it has a much stronger aroma. That's the one most Chinese home cooks use for seasoning. Regular sesame oil has a much milder flavor and is more suitable for cooking. If a Chinese recipe simply says sesame oil, it's usually referring to toasted sesame oil. Okay, can I replace vegetable oil with sesame oil? Not really. Vegetable oil is your cooking oil, and sesame oil is your seasoning. They have completely different jobs. The easiest way to remember it is this. Don't think of sesame oil as cooking oil. Think of it as a finishing seasoning. Just a few drops at the end can make your food smell amazing. This is Sichuan pepper oil. It is made by infusing oil with Sichuan peppercorns.
It has a bright citrusy aroma and a unique tingling sensation that makes Chinese dishes incredibly addictive. Unlike sesame oil, this oil isn't about richness, it's about fragrance and that signature numbing sensation. I usually add it at the very end. Just a few drops can completely transform a cold dish. It instantly adds another layer of aroma and flavor.
Sichuan pepper oil is another ingredient that surprises a lot of people. Here are some of the questions I see most often. Number 1. Why does it make my mouth feel numb? That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Sichuan pepper isn't actually a chili.
Instead of creating heat, it creates a gentle tingling sensation that's unique to Sichuan cuisine.
Is it spicy? Not really on its own. It's more numbing than spicy. When it's combined with chili, that's where the famous mala flavor comes from. Can I use the Sichuan pepper oil instead of the whole peppercorns? Absolutely. It's much more convenient, especially for cold dishes, because you get the aroma and the tingling sensation without biting into the whole peppercorns. The easiest way to remember it is this. Sesame oil makes your food smell richer. Sichuan pepper oil makes your food taste more exciting. If you enjoy Chinese cold dishes, this is definitely an ingredient worth trying. This is white pepper. It may look simple, but it's one of the seasonings I use almost every day in Chinese cooking.
Even though they come from the same pepper plant, they taste surprisingly different. Black pepper has a brighter, sharper flavor. White pepper is more earthy and mellow, with a unique aroma that's very common in Chinese cooking. I use it in soups, marinades, meat fillings, and many everyday stir-fries. It adds warmth without overpowering the other flavors.
White pepper is another ingredient that many people ask about. Let's clear up a few common questions. Number 1. Why do Chinese recipes use white pepper instead of black pepper? Because they create different flavors.
White pepper has a softer, warmer taste that blends into the dish. Black pepper is much bolder, so it stands out more.
Can I use black pepper instead? Absolutely. Your dish will still taste good, but it will have a different flavor profile. If we are trying to recreate the taste of traditional Chinese dishes, white pepper is worth having. Why does white pepper smell so different? That's completely normal. White pepper has a much stronger aroma before it's cooked. Once it's added to the dish, the flavor becomes much more balanced. The easiest way to remember it is this. Black pepper adds bold pepper kick. White pepper adds gentle warmth that blends naturally into Chinese cooking. Now let's talk about another ingredient.
Sugar.
Yes, even in Chinese savory dishes. I know that sounds a little strange, but let me explain.
This is plain white sugar. It may not seem like a typical savory seasoning,
but it's actually one of the ingredients I use most often in Chinese cooking.
In Chinese cooking, sugar isn't always there to make a dish sweet. Most of the time, it's used to balance the other flavors. I use sugar in braised dishes, stir-fries, sauces, and even some soups. Often, you won't even notice it's there. You will just notice that the dish tastes more balanced.
Sugar is another ingredient that raises a lot of questions. Here are a few I see all the time. Why do Chinese recipes add sugar to savory dishes? Not to make them sweet. A small amount of sugar helps balance salty, sour, and savory flavors. In many recipes, you won't actually taste the sugar at all. Can I just leave the sugar out? Usually, yes. Your dish will still taste good, but it may not have the same balance or depth of the flavor. Even a small amount can make a noticeable difference. Will the dish taste sweet? Not if we are following the recipe. Most Chinese dishes only use a small amount, just enough to balance the flavor, not enough to make the food taste like dessert. Can I use brown sugar instead? Sometimes, but brown sugar has a richer molasses flavor. It may slightly change the taste of the dish. For most everyday Chinese recipes, I usually use plain white sugar. The easiest way to remember it is this. In Chinese cooking, sugar isn't always about sweetness. It's often about balance.
Sometimes, just half a teaspoon is enough to bring all the flavors together.
So we've talked about balancing flavors. Now let's talk about another seasoning That's probably the most misunderstood ingredients in Chinese cooking. MSG. Next, let's take a look at two seasonings that are always confused with each other.
MSG and chicken bouillon powder. This is MSG and this is chicken powder. Both of them are used to add umami, the rich savory taste that makes food more flavorful. MSG is a single seasoning. Chicken powder is a blended seasoning. Besides chicken flavor, many brands also contain MSG, along with salt and other seasonings. I usually add a small amount near the end of cooking. Just a little can make soups, vegetables, and stir-fries taste more savory.
These two seasonings probably generate more questions than any others. So let's go through a few of the most common ones. Number 1. Is MSG bad for you?
This is probably the question I see most often. Years ago, MSG developed a bad reputation. But according to current scientific evidence, regulatory agencies around the world, including the US FDA, consider MSG safe for most people when consumed in normal amounts. Like any seasoning, it's best used in moderation.
Is chicken powder just MSG? Not exactly. Chicken powder usually contains several ingredients, such as chicken flavor, salt, and in many brands MSG. So they are related, but they are not the same thing. Do I have to use MSG? Not at all. You can cook delicious Chinese food without it. It's simply another seasoning that many home cooks choose to use when they want a little more umami. Why do Chinese recipes sometimes use both chicken powder and MSG?
Some cooks like the extra chicken flavor from the chicken powder, while MSG provides pure umami. Whether you need one, both, or neither really comes down to personal preference.
The easiest way to remember it is this. MSG adds pure umami. Chicken powder adds umami plus additional seasoning. Neither is required, but both can be useful depending on the dish you are making. Now let's look at another group of ingredients that gives Chinese meat its signature aroma: Chinese aromatics and spices.
You don't use all of these every time. Different dishes call for different combinations. But together, these are some of the most common aromatics you will find in Chinese home cooking.
Let's start with the two ingredients I probably use the most: scallions and ginger.
These are the foundation of countless Chinese dishes. I use them to build flavor, especially when cooking meat and seafood.
Why do Chinese recipes always use ginger with meat? Ginger doesn't magically remove every odor, but it helps balance the stronger meat flavor while adding the freshness and aroma. That's why you will see it in so many Chinese recipes. Next are the whole spices. Star anise, cinnamon, and bay leaves.
These are commonly used in braised dishes, soups, and stocks. They slowly release their aroma during cooking, giving the dish a richer and deeper flavor.
Do I need every spice in the recipe? Not at all. Most home cooks mix and match these spices depending on the dish. You don't need to use every single one every time. These are both Sichuan peppercorns, but they are not the same.
Red Sichuan peppercorns have a richer, deeper aroma with a gentle, long-lasting numbing sensation. Green Sichuan peppercorns create a much brighter fragrance, with fresh citrus notes and a stronger numbing effect. I usually use red Sichuan peppercorns for braised dishes, chili oil, hot pot, or recipes where I want to build a rich aroma.
Green Sichuan peppercorns are my choice for the dish that highlight freshness, like Sichuan pepper chicken, fish dishes, and cold appetizer. One question I see quite often is, do I need both? Not at all. If you are just getting started, you can absolutely begin with red Sichuan peppercorns. Once you are familiar with Chinese cooking, try green Sichuan peppercorns and you will notice how different the aroma is. The easiest way to remember it is this: red Sichuan peppercorns build richness, green Sichuan peppercorns add freshness. Both create their signature numbing sensation, but each gives your dish a very different personality. Dried chilies don't just add heat, they also add aroma.
In many Chinese dishes, the chilies are there as much for fragrance as they are for spiciness.
Do Chinese people usually eat the dried chilies? Not usually. They are used to flavor the oil, and most people simply leave them on the plate. Next is an ingredient that many people outside China have never seen before. Bai Zhi, also known as Dahuria Angelica root.
Unlike soy sauce or sesame oil, Bai Zhi isn't an everyday seasoning. It's mainly used in braised dishes and slow-cooked meats. I often add a small piece when braising meat. It helps reduce strong meaty odors while adding a gentle herbal aroma to the dish.
Is Bai Zhi absolutely necessary? Not necessarily. You can still make delicious braised dishes without it. But if you enjoy cooking Chinese braised regularly, Bai Zhi is one of those small ingredients that adds another layer of aroma and helps reduce strong meaty odors while adding a clean herbal fragrance. Finally, this is Gardenia fruit. Most people don't expect this ingredient. Now let's do a simple side-by-side test. We will cook 2 pots of chicken using exactly the same recipe. The only difference is that one of them includes gardenia fruit.
This is the first pot, no gardenia fruit. We will simmer it for 30 minutes, then see how it looks. Here is the result. The chicken is fully cooked, but the skin is still quite pale. Now let's make another pot. This time I will add 1 gardenia fruit. Everything else stays exactly the same. And here is the difference. Same chicken, same cooking time, just 1 extra ingredient. Look at that beautiful golden color. It looks much more appetizing, just like the chicken you often see in Chinese restaurants.
Gardenia fruit isn't used to add a strong flavor. It's mainly used as a natural coloring ingredient, giving the chicken that beautiful golden appearance without artificial coloring. Thanks for watching. See you next time.